Hello everybody, my name is Richard Harvey. I'm a 35-year-old British wildlife vet specialising in conservation medicine. Conservation medicine is predominantly catching animals to put tracking devices, so be that collars or other sorts of tags, used in anti-poaching or general animal research, or conservation management, so management of protected areas, understanding how these animals use the protected area and where they're generally staying. And also translocating and reintroducing endangered animals into places where they may have been completely exterminated or where populations need reinforcement. I started off working in wildlife research, predominantly with large carnivores, and was very interested to spend time working in the tropical rainforests of Central Africa, and was very fortunate to be mentored by a very experienced wildlife vet who I assisted on a number of forest elephant collaring missions throughout Gabon. Over a number of years working with him, I ended up taking on my own missions throughout the Congo basin, and have collared over 150 forest elephant across the region. This mission is not the first time that I've put GPS collars, neither on forest elephant or in general. I started off collaring about a decade ago, predominantly carnivores, so lions, leopard, cheetah, and forest elephant. I've been undertaking forest elephant collaring since 2017, and I've done a lot of missions throughout their range, Gabon, in the north of Congo, Cameroon, and also the forest elephant population in Benin, which is a savanna adapted forest elephant population. So over 150 forest elephant collared so far. Generally we're aiming for about a 50-50 split of collars between males and females. It's interesting to understand the different dynamics between males and females, how they use the environment differently, and obviously from an understanding perspective, from a general research perspective, it's good to have that 50-50 split. From a poaching perspective, the males are the animals that are most targeted just because they have much larger ivory. So of course we're quite interested to put collars on males with large ivory, and also the males tend to be the animals that roam the most. They have the largest ranging behavior, and through those animals they're most likely that you would find corridors, so areas where they passage through or between national parks, and areas of interest in the landscape. It is a little bit difficult in the forest environment. Sometimes we don't have a lot of choice about the animal that we might choose. You can be walking for many hours on end following tracks. You may know that you have a male or a female, but often we can't decide at that point which animal we will find because we don't know where it is on the track. So we have to be prepared to catch both a male and a female, and in some respects we have to be happy with whatever we can find in the area that we want to put collars. But generally over a mission it tends to equal out at about a 50-50 split. This mission, for example, 5 collars, we've done 3 males and 2 females. It's very important for us that we have to put these collars on fully grown adult animals. Young animals, juvenile animals, especially subadult males, can pose a big challenge if we were to put the collar on and then leave that on there. Obviously it stays on for up to 10 years. These males specifically, from a subadult to a fully grown adult, their neck size can double, triple sometimes. So we can run a risk of causing that animal some harm if we were to put it on a young animal. So we are very careful to only choose fully grown adult animals. We wouldn't dart a juvenile, but if we were to dart a juvenile by accident, we would actually just wake that animal up and not put a collar on. There are many challenges of placing elephant collars, especially in a forest environment. Of course, the forest environment itself is not exactly permissive. It's quite a difficult environment to work in. Swamps, bees, ants, snakes, scorpions, all of the general dangers that you face when working in the forest. Water everywhere, obviously rivers, small streams, lots of river crossings. And the elephants themselves are not the most willing participants. Forest elephants, compared to savanna elephants, tend to be a lot more aggressive. They are very silent in the forest despite their large bulk, and can run extremely fast, often straight through trees and thick bush. So the hardest aspect is actually the not only finding the elephant, which in a vast rainforest can be quite challenging. We can sometimes spend 8 or 9 hours walking on a track of an elephant before we even find it, which through those 8 or 9 hours will often include many river crossings up to the neck, many hours wading through very thick and tiring swamps. But once we get to the elephant, we have to be very careful, of course, for the safety of the team. These drugs, in this forest environment, we're tracking everything on foot. There's no helicopters, no aviation support. So we also have to be careful of the elephant after we give him the drugs, that it doesn't go down into water, that it doesn't suffer from any of the negative effects of the drugs. So what that means for us is tracking him very quickly, running on the track, and making sure that we are very careful to have our doses very correctly adjusted for the size of the animal. So the elephants all respond relatively differently when they wake up, although there are a few common themes. The interesting one with the drugs is that as they are reversed, as the drugs start to be worked out of their system, they first gain control of their ears, so their ear will generally flop back. Then their trunk, so they will start moving their trunk, investigating the environment, and only afterwards do they then get full control of their body, and in general they will rock up and stand up. Pretty much across the board, all these elephants will first feel the collar, feel the weight, and investigate what this new thing is around their neck. Almost all of them obviously know that something is there. The trunk is very tactile, that's what they use to explore the environment, and they will check out what this thing around their neck is. But the reaction can be quite different. Some animals don't care at all. Others, they want to try and get it off. That's their first thought. They've got something on their neck and they want to get it off. However, across the board, usually within a few minutes, but definitely within a few days, they're completely habituated to that collar, completely settled with having that around their neck.